episode 19 of Rigor Mortis Paranormal. Tonight's episode includes a possessed teddy bear wreaks havoc in a Dallas home, a demon chokes an inmate in a Santa Clara jail, a dead body speaks in an abandoned shack in the woods. I am David, this is Robert, Jasmine, and Ian.
Hello.
Hey guys.
What's up?
Alright guys, another week, another show.
Yeah, you know what? Awesome lineup. I actually, every one of those stories were pretty good, man.
There's some great stories. Yeah, I like them. Yeah.
And actually, and then good old Ian's got his. What will we be talking about today, Ian?
Something called face blindness.
Face blindness. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's when you see somebody sobering thoughts. That's when you see somebody so ugly. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like back face, brown back face. They call that.
I mean, we want to go with layman's terms. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Dude, we gotta get you music for your Justin. What was it?
Yeah.
Ian's corner.
Welcome to Ian's corner.
Exactly like that. Just cut that out.
Hey, we actually have a Uber story today too, which is
we haven't done that in a while.
it's been a little bit since we've done that. So that's
And
cool.
also, Jazzy, something good.
What you got going on, Jazzy?
As you can tell, I've been sounding more sober. Well, you guys already know I'm pregnant. I just found out I was having a boy, so I'm pretty excited.
Awesome.
Right? It's gonna have a little brother.
Yeah.
So my son's name is Riot, my older son. So if you guys have any suggestions about names,
There
something
we go.
cool,
I still liked
Chaos.
Chaos.
Yeah.
I did too, man.
Doesn't it have Chaos and Riot? 'Cause
Yeah.
we found that it was a boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a boy. So I'm pretty excited.
That was all. Yeah. Chaos. Tulipan. That's another one you might think of.
Me and Corey are stuck like what? That just registered. But I've been wanting Cash for like years. Like as soon as I named Riot, I was like, shit, I should have named him Cash.
That's cool too.
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny,
But
what's
you know
wrong with that?
It's weird because, and I promise you the God's honest truth. When she was first born, she almost had a shotgun. Was it gonna be her middle name? I promise to God, I was. Yeah, I'm serious. I was like, man, that's so cool. She'll be Jasmine Shotgun. I mean, and I'm like, and Mom's like, you're full of shit, man. It's like, I was like, come on, just think about it. Just think about it. And you're like,
Give it some thought. Mull it over for a few weeks.
you know, let's not just write anything just yet. It's just, you know, well, is it like full of shit?
Oh my
I'm
god.
glad you didn't use it because now I can use it.
Yeah.
In the future, if I were
Yeah,
kids.
good.
I don't know how cool I was. I was like, hey man, I'll be rolling around, people be calling me shotgun instead of battleship.
Battleship.
No, they're not even talking about the guns. They're talking about the whole shit.
How about the size?
Oh man, I get a Titanosaurus. Anyway.
I thought you were talking about the board game.
Oh yeah.
Like what? You can name people Yahtzee and
Yeah, well, Monopoly. We'll name them Shoots and Ladders.
That's a good name. It's a good wholesome name.
Anyway, though, man, things are crazy too, man.
we're in a new recording spot, and Sam's still in the same house, but
Yeah.
Actually, something cool. Also, me and your dad started something up against something good.
We're
Yeah.
gonna be hearing some little more noise coming out of the
Hey, Corey, our drummer. Yeah, so something good.
So it doubles as a recording and a jam space.
Oh hell yeah.
We're getting a little more professional. A little more.
Alright. Well, not in the jamming session. The jamming part so far, we've started sober. By the time we finish, none of us remember what we started.
Oh, we kicked fucking ass, man. We're all fucked up. Yeah, hitting wrong.
Four songs.
We're starting on a different song and like, dude, that's not the
Maybe
song.
shut the fuck up.
No, dude, no, seriously. Man, it's been awesome though, man. It really has been. Man, I was telling me she headed out to the mall today, man, and I didn't even know there's like so many malls that are closing.
Yeah,
And
too
you
many
don't even see them no more.
nowadays.
It's like the big ones that are surviving.
Yeah.
But she was saying, you know, like she was talking about like, yeah. Well, that was still up. That one
South Park Mall.
that was still up. But she was, okay, there you go. Where she was talking about the dangers, like you can't get in these motherfuckers because they're gonna hit you in the car and stuff like that. I was like, you know what, man? Yeah, that's pretty bad. But you remember back in our man. I mean,
speaking of South Park Mall, man, yeah, I know. South Park Mall was ugly back then. It was scary.
They had a restroom. Why we used it? They should have. Well, that's why we think like the way we think.
It was probably easier to pick up kids because they didn't
give it. There was nothing to do. We're all broke.
Yeah.
Everybody was on food stamps, and I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying we all grew up. That's where we came from, and we were on housing, and housing authority or whatever you have, and
they just offer to feed you, and you would go.
Yeah, man. It's like, hey, we'll go to Hickory Farms and give samples.
Oh, man, you know what? I forgot about that. We lived on Hickory Farm for a little bit.
You lived on samples?
Yeah, man.
They had to shoo us away.
How big were these samples?
Yeah, we just come back 30 minutes later. That's where I learned how to eat a lot of sesame, man. That shit was good. Yeah.
No, they had the little barrels. They would have barrels or like containers, all for just about every product.
Like here's these one kids again, all 9 of them.
God damn, here they come again. We did. They knew us too. Oh man, don't y'all got man. Tell your mama to buy some top ramen. They're like a dime each, man. But going back to that, because that's where I learned what a glory hole was. I didn't know what the hell that was. Man, and we're stupid, right?
I still didn't get it. I was too young.
Like a mic doo doo.
Yeah. Hello, on the other side. Put it in your mouth.
Oh, that's gross.
God. Because we didn't understand it, man. Because you'd go throw a leak, and really there was a dude there, man. It was a dude.
He would wait in the stall. Or
yeah, as soon as he would hear you get ready to pee, and you just see that eye go down there real quick, and I'll be like, dude, what the fuck, and we didn't know what that was. Like, why is he looking at me?
I remember that, man.
We didn't know, man, and that's the shit that we were exposed to. None of us nowadays would tell our kids, hey, well, you know what? Yeah, just go throw a leak, man. Well, there's a guy looking at me through a hole. That's we all grew up like that. You're good. But yeah.
I don't remember which one of us it was that was taking a leak, but I think there was 3 of us. I don't know who it was, but the other was probably standing back, and one of us said to the other, hey, there's a guy looking through the hole, and
the other dude knew what that was.
Yeah, we all looked, and we're like, dude, sure enough, there's an eye right there. Still, the guy's still there with his eye.
No shame. He just kept saying.
He was like, hey, maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe one of these kids will come in my stall. Yeah.
I'm like, what in the world, dude?
But remember what Johnny did?
Oh yeah,
it was around New Year's.
Well, that was later, but no, that was another. Wasn't that another one? Or
that was some dude that was minding his damn business. No, man. The same restroom.
No, the same restroom. But this one, we actually we were all like, well, maybe we should tell somebody, So man, we went out to go tell the mall cop, and we're like, well, yeah, there's this guy there. You can see white pants. We know he's wearing white pants.
Just leave it alone, son.
No, you know what, man? The next thing you knew, you see him coming out in handcuffs, man. They handcuffed him, and
you know what? I remember that. That was a trip, man.
They took him out, and
they probably beat the shit out of him too, man. Because that back then is different set of laws, which is good, man. Because we're young. How old were we, man? Like 12? Not even.
No, not even.
Maybe about 12. Yeah, 10, 12 years old. But that still ain't right.
Why would you keep going to the same restroom?
We had to pee. That's all we wanted to do.
That was the only one there was. Yeah.
Dude, that's what it was, because it was right near the urinal. I mean, that hole was that close, like where he's getting splashed. Our pee splashing in his eye. Like he's blinking real fast, but he's enjoying the view. And the way I peed back then, shit, I pulled my pants down to my ankles and tippy-toed and wee.
I should have really grossed him out and took a shit in there.
No, that probably he would have came out. But
the time you're talking about with Johnny, that was
he was just minding his business. He wasn't looking at nobody. He just had to take a shit.
He was whistling. He was real cool. He was reading the paper and enjoying himself, just minding his business. And the guy had to go. He had to go.
He just picked the wrong stall.
He picked the wrong stall.
He just minded his own business, man. He was reading the Wall Street Journal or whatever it is you do, man.
We were bad kids back then, man. So.
What did he tell him, man?
What were they
Jumping
called?
jacks.
Jumping jacks,
The whole pack of jumping jacks.
This guy Johnny lights them up and throws it right under the stall.
I mean,
man.
just perfect shuffleboard, man.
See the guy's shoes, man, just real nice, shiny. What are they?
Oxford or something. I don't know.
Stacey Adams, Oxford, I don't know, but man lands right in between them and they're going all over the place.
They're just kicking out. God dang you boys, come here.
That's exactly what you hear, man.
We're laughing, we split.
We ran out.
I think even the fart alarm came on or something like that. But I feel so bad for that man, poor guy. He was just my. But that's what I was saying back then. Like I was thinking about that when Mom was telling me about, yeah, you got to be careful with the traffic. You got to be careful with being abducted, man. You can't even go peony back then.
It was horrible, man.
But it was all right too, because that's all we did on Saturdays, man. It was boring as hell, but it was less boring at home. At least you're just walking back and forth. You're broke as hell. You know you ain't gonna buy shit. You ain't got shit in your pockets. You're just going back and forth, walking and checking out. Let's go to the mall. Let's go. And that's all you did was just walk back and forth, man. And
that's exactly right. You know what? We got a lot of good exercise back then.
Oh yeah,
we used to walk a lot, man.
Very much. But why, man? Why do we remember that motherfucker, man?
I know, right? All the things we remember, man.
My first sexual encounter. In your books.
Talking to the glory. Well, that's gross. Hello. It smells funny.
Let me put my ear here. This is
your ear is stuck to. Oh, that's nasty. That's gross.
So gross.
Anyway, let's get to our first story. That's nasty, man. Which one is that one?
Let's listen to the teddy bear one, man. That's a good one.
We'll do the teddy bear. Let's do it.
All right, let's check this out, man. It's a great story.
This story comes from Mercy from Dallas, Texas. Hi, gang. I'm really hoping you could use my story. In June of 2013, my husband and 2 girls went on a vacation in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We stayed in a nice little motel. At least I thought it was nice. As soon as I walked into the motel, I felt a sense of dread and the air was heavy and I felt uneasy. My husband also said the room felt different. We were all tired though, and we just wanted to go to bed. In the bed my daughters were going to sleep in, someone left a little teddy bear. My youngest daughter loved the teddy bear. She got ready for bed and slept with the bear. That night, I kept waking up to what sounded like something scratching by the girl's bed. I turned on the light to see what it was, but nothing was there. That went on all night. I thought it was a rat or something like that, but nothing was there. In the morning, we headed back home. My daughter brought the teddy bear back with her. A few days passed and things started getting weird. One thing that would happen was the lights in our house would turn off. I would go into the kitchen and turn on the light and it would shut off. About 2 minutes later, the light switch would be in the off position. I was the only one in there. My husband was in the shower and the lights turned off on him. It was also on the off position. One day, my daughters were playing in their room when all of a sudden they started screaming and ran out of their room. I asked them what was going on. They told me they were playing in their room when they saw the teddy bear turn its head. Then the lights turned off. What was strange is their light is on a ceiling fan. You have a chain that controls the speed of the fan and one for the lights. When I walked in the room, the light was off and the chain was swinging like someone had pulled it. That same night, I took the bear and threw it in the dumpster at a corner store by my house. From that day on, we didn't have any more problems with our lights. Thanks for listening, guys. Love your show. Man, that's crazy. And what do we always say, right? And this is obviously a haunted item. You know,
object. It's attached to the object, so you bring it at home with you.
Yeah, why?
Who does it? That's like stuff you hear in movies all the time, or you see in movies, but people really do. I mean, they.
No, I can understand, man.
The yard sales, people go pick.
Well, I mean, that's true, though. I guess, yeah, that's true.
I know she thought it was harmless, right? And obviously, yeah, you know, I mean, like she said, her baby girl fell in love with the doll. Maybe
right.
She didn't want to take it away because she didn't want to hear him, you know, the baby or her little girl complain or cry, but yeah, now I mean that's so crazy.
That's what she gets then. She wanted it.
And that's what I'm saying is like, if this is my thing too here, and this is totally serious. If I knew I had something that haunted,
like why leave it there for somebody else to go through the same thing?
Especially a kid. Well, you don't know who's gonna pick that shit up. Like, just leave it there. I don't want to fuck with that. I don't want to just...
It's somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
You know, the way this thing is, I mean, the way this thing sounded creepy. I mean, maybe it actually just went back there on its own. Maybe they did throw it away. I mean, you never know.
Oh, shit, man. What if it did? That came out of that dumpster. She said she threw it away in the...
she went to a store, and threw it away.
And the dumpster, but yeah.
Man, I would have burned that thing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, that's... Man, to me, those are some of the weirdest things. I mean, haunted items to me is always like, that's one thing that's always creeped me out.
Well, especially like in a baby thing too. She said, "Now that's devious working overtime with the demons, man. You know, that's crazy." And then that was
like the ceiling fan that we had for the longest time. My daughter would always say that thing talked to her, and I was like, seriously? I was like, what are you talking about? And say, no. She'd like cover her face, and she'd be
that's like, crazy. That would trip me out too.
Yeah, she still swears by it to this day.
Even to this day, she's already 9 years old, and she still says, no, that thing talked to me. It would say hi. Sometimes it would smile at her, and
or maybe it's not like that.
I know. And I was like,
pictures
really?
like etched in her mind.
I'm looking at it, and I'm like,
saying, who soul gets trapped in a ceiling fan? I mean, how does that? I'm not making fun of it, but
exactly,
I hope I come back as a zebra or a dragon. I'm a ceiling fan.
Ceiling fan. And stout. These are my blades.
And the thing too, it was probably a good, kinded spirit inside trying to be nice, but
I hope you're cool down there, right?
Toss it out.
Finally took it down and threw it out, but yeah, that's true. Maybe it'll be nice. It's trying to say
this looks nice.
Really, guys, I could change. No, you're going to.
What if that's how ghosts and demons get bad? Because they try to be nice and people misinterpret.
They
just toss them out.
Look what happened to the bear. I'm not making light to that, but that's what I
think. The bear just wanted to see what's going on.
Well, honestly, do you think? I mean, I'm thinking. This is kind of weird because, like, say, now you see all that crap, Annabelle and all that, and that is a real haunted doll. How did they get haunted? Were they in a crime scene and they saw something like that? That's just weird how shit like that. Or
now you're talking Chucky. I mean,
I know.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Like a spell and like a necklace.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay, or like let's say, well, it could be too that a demon's trying to trick a child too, right?
That's really
it could be.
You hear.
That's probably. I mean, maybe it was just using it as a
tool,
it was that actual demon that was like picking it
as
up.
As a vessel.
I was gonna say that.
I saw you getting ready to. That's why. But you know what? In reality, that's what it is. It's just using it to get from point A to point B. And then too, man, that's just crazy because you think about it, and you're like, I always wondered that, like, why is that they get into like dolls and toys and shit like that,
But what if it was a person who was living? What if it was just something that had sentimental value to them, though?
And that's another thing too that they got attached to. Yeah, you know what? That could be like
their favorite nostalgic childhood item or something like that, or they were a kid who passed away and it was their favorite doll or toy or something like that.
It's like a seashell statue or something. Then you put it in the restroom. And then you got someone like me that takes shits daily, that awful ones that they're just like, that's how they turn bad.
They're trying to get out of there. That's all they're trying to do. Oh my God. Man, I don't know. That, to me, that's one of the more creepier things that I could ever think. Honestly, a demon, if you see one, or I don't know, they talk to you. I mean, that's all scary stuff. But an actual haunted item, for some reason, that always seems to be like an extra level of creepy to me.
But, okay,
I don't know why.
What was the deal with the lights too? I mean, that's what made it another twist. Right? Also, like, what was the significance for the lights being off? Bright lights. I don't know. But like that's it's weird too. Like the way they said that she saw the thing swinging, and like they got into detail how we have our ceiling fans full of dust here and they shake and stuff, but like, we don't turn them on.
Those are different reasons.
Like you get your head cut off and that fella. But that was an awesome story, Mercy. Thank you for that.
It's good to hear that it didn't come back.
Yeah, if it did, let us know, please. And
kidding. That would be something. Please follow up with us. If it did, that would be a really cool follow-up story. But at the same time, take care of your kid first. So
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I don't get time to follow up on dealing with this shit.
That's all y'all are thinking about.
Thanks for writing in.
Definitely appreciate it.
I do have a story, dude, and it's just a real quick one.
Bring it on.
Yeah, it is a work story. You guys ever run into folks that they don't have no common sense, that they just say the most stupidest or inappropriate things at the wrongest time?
Oh, were you getting?
Oh, no,
Is that like episode 1 through 5? Or no, I'm just kidding.
Actually, yeah, but no, I'm talking about like dumb shit. Like that was dumb. Like you look at somebody like, dude, for real? Like, dude, you know what you're saying? And like, yeah, this guy. I mean, he's a newlywed, and here we go. And I'm not knocking this shit. He's a big dude, man. He's like about 3 of me, man.
Wow. Okay.
Guy's cool. He'll take us. The guy's real cool. I mean, he'll hook you. If you want lunch, he's real nice like that. He's real cool. But he's bragging about being with his wife at night. Telling her stories. I'm like, wait a minute, dude. Like that's what I said. I was like, dude, come on, for real. And then I got to picture him naked too. So, but the thing is. Chance, I'm sorry, my daughter. I don't like talking about this shit in front of my daughter. But it's funny as hell because he's trying to spice it up. Dude's been married 6 months. That's what I'm saying, dude. When you put some time in, 30 years like me, you'll be doing trapeze, cartwheels. This dude, he's talking about. Okay, I'm sorry, and I know y'all seen him before, man. And it's kind of dangerous, man. He said, "How do
the wheelbarrow?"
I don't know what that is, man.
I haven't heard that one.
Let me jot that one down, right? Hey, babe, let's try that wheelbarrow. Well, he came. I'm not gonna ask that, man. Get the fuck away from me. Why don't you try a diet?
A diet?
So he comes out and he's like, he came and he was telling me a story of that happened to him, man. And like I said, he has got no shame. He doesn't care about what he says or who he says it to. He's just nothing's sacred, nothing's taboo to him. He'll just tell you, he's an open book, and you're just like, damn, you. And he's always got some weird story to say. So he was saying, yeah, me and my, so me and my wife, we're trying to spice it up. So she comes out and she's got an extension cord and she starts choking him, and he's like, dude, so I'm into it. I'm just like, we'll give it a try. Dude, okay, first I didn't explain it right. The guy's huge, man. The guy is big. He's probably got like another 50 pounds on me, so that put him somewhere about 600 pounds, right? So he's huge, but his wife is small, man. She's like 100 pounds wet, man.
Really?
She's like, and she's a very nice lady, but I didn't know.
Maybe she's just trying to climb on top of him. And
Okay, that's what I'm saying. He says, so he starts choking him, and she's standing on him, and you look like you're pulling back a rein, like your horses. Whoa, yeah, like that. Like she's like at an angle standing and choking him. He says, dude, I didn't realize, but it started to get serious, dude. I started to see black, and I tried to say the safety word, banana, but it wouldn't work. I couldn't say nothing. He said the next thing, dude, I remember paramedics at my house. She was crying. He said, no, that was like I guess a towel. I don't know. He said that he snapped out and he's like, whoa, what's going on, guys? And they're like, and that's what I was saying. And then he said, he's like, dude, you remember that time when I didn't come for like a week? And I was like, yeah, but he told me that, like he was, but that. Oh man. I was like, dude, what the fuck? The only thing I could picture, and I don't know if you remember this one, and you probably did, man. And it's the old school one. I don't know which one. To me, it's the old school one. It was the last, not Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi. That's what it was.
Return of the Jedi.
Where Jabba the Hutt is there. and Princess Leia is choking him with that chain. That's the only thing I could picture in my head, dude. So why I say these things on these podcasts, I don't know, but it's fucking funny, dude. If you just saw the guy, because his face, the way he made it, like, dude, it started getting serious. I started seeing black. You know, I was trying to say this, banana, but she couldn't. I guess she was into it. I'm like, you know, dude, you're always whining, dude. So maybe she tried to kill you. No, she was crying. She was crying when I woke up. I was like, dude, that's sad, man. But who does that?
That's so cool. Oh my God.
Anyway,
that's stuff, man. I know.
Anyway, man. And I see that dude every day. He's got something new, man.
You don't hear this, man.
Did he have like green marks on his head?
Under his folds, yeah. She got one right under one of those neck folds, man. So you couldn't see it, man. But his eyes were blood red, like his vessels broke.
Pop the vessel in his eye.
I bet he didn't learn though.
Yeah, he's like, well, if I wave my hand, that's the safety word.
Next time, yeah. Or if I pass out, that's a safety word too.
Pass out. Anyway, what's next, man?
That was crazy. Okay. Man, sorry, man. I'm like way in the
I'm trying to get that view out of my head, man. Jeez, man.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, the county jail. Haunted county jail, man. That's kind of crazy, man.
You know, I looked it up and I was trying to figure out what he was talking about because most jails, county jails especially, they're you got like little pods and stuff like that. Because I read it and he was talking about like they like he got. I'm not gonna give too much away, but like. I know he got transferred and he said they were in pods. Well, he's talking about one that had like a barrack style, like military, where you have all your, what is it? Your bunk beds, yeah. They're just like military style. And they said that place, I looked one up and it said, I believe it was called Elmwood, Men's Correctional Facility. And they have something like that in Santa Clara County, San Jose.
San Jose, yeah. Santa Clara, yeah.
And so I was looking at it, and it said it was Elmwood, and I was like, wow, you know. But that's what tripped me out is because they're just all open. Like, and I was like, man, I wonder how they keep all those guys from, you know, causing like riots or, you know, getting out of hand because that's a lot of work. But I think what that is they're like, how do you say? They're on the low. Yeah, they're not really.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you? I mean,
or something.
Trying to not to change this, but I mean, did you go to that one in San Antonio, the Bexar County Jail?
I went to the old one. Yeah, that one.
Because I was in the new one though. I know.
The new one I was in also.
But yeah, they kept us down like it was a little area. It was kind of like that. It was like a big wide open one. But
dude, your holding cells. You either getting transferred to that's
supposed to get transferred to the room.
To the jail, and I've been several times where I got transferred to the jail, and it was just tickets. I just didn't want to pay them.
Oh, same here.
Yeah, you know, but like you were either lucky you go to the last holding cell. You're in the last holding cell, you're going home.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you're in that first one,
oh yeah,
dude, yeah, you're gonna go get transferred.
Yeah. But, and I remember they called everybody before they called me.
Whatever with you, man.
Well, when I saw Dad or what?
Dad was like
my dad was in the my dad was in the next cell for me.
Oh my God.
That was so weird, man. I'm like, I'm walking by because you gotta hold your shoes in your hands and everybody had to take off their shoes and you're like, no, they caught him with a little bit of weed. He had like a dime bag or something dumb, and but he had no, you know what? They didn't even catch it. They didn't catch the bag. I think he had
tickets also because they pulled him over my stupid car.
I think the light was out, but he had a warrant or something dumb for I don't know, probably no insurance. But none of us had insurance. I didn't have insurance. I used to get
bought insurance back then. Now we're old, so better get insurance.
This was the early '80s, and back then, I got pulled over on a weekly basis. I told him finally, I was like, just mail them to me because I'm not going to pay them. Mm-hmm. And I got real defiant too. I was like, you know what, dude, I'm not going to pay him. And I even told the judge, and they're like, get him out of here before I get him for contempt. I told the judge, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm not going to pay it. Just go ahead and take me to jail. I was like, I'll do the time. Yeah, I'll do the time. And he's like, no, you're going to pay it. And I'm like, no, I'm not because I don't have money. So I'll do the time. I'm letting you know right now, I'll do the time. And he's like, no, I'm gonna give you 2 weeks, and I said, well, in 2 weeks I'll be here, but I'm gonna give you the same story. So I'm telling you, we can waste, we can save everybody some time here. Just put me in jail. Yeah. It's like, you got me here, just let me do the time, man. Man, that time, man, I went over like 3 times, and every time, man, they would like. Yeah, it was like I had like 4 tickets or 5 with no insurance, and it was like $500. So back then it was cheaper. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm not gonna, and it came, 2 weeks later, yep, I'm ready to go to jail, I was like, I ain't got money, so, and then it's like, well, $350, and then I'm back in 2 weeks, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. 2 weeks go by, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go to jail. And they're like, $150, The last one was like $50 finally, and I was like, all right, I'll give you $50.
Even then, too, right?
But even then, I was like, I'll think about it, but I was like, all right.
Well, now they are getting like the habitual, like if you got habitual tickets like that, yeah, they will. And it's harder on young folks. I know that we're getting older now. Like they see an old fart like me driving like, 40 miles an hour. They're, well, I better not say that. Tomorrow I'm going to get pulled over and beat me with a baton and all that. But yeah, it's harder now. But anyway, though, but going back to the story that he did, we have to deal with the bullshit that he did. It's a good story. Right, yeah. I'm not going to say no more. So it's a really good story, fellas.
The story comes from Munoz from San Francisco, California. Back in 1991, I was living in San Jose, California. I was locked up in the county jail for some dumb shit I did. About 6 months into my sentence, I was transferred from one county jail to another nearby due to overcrowding. When I arrived at the other jail, it was a little different. Instead of inmate pods, they had their lockup sort of like military barrack style. There was a big room with around 30 bunk beds, a big restroom, and a shower area. One night, I was woken by one of the inmates. I was on the top bunk and he shook me awake. He scared the hell out of me. When an inmate shakes you to wake you up in the middle of the night, it's normally not good. I was about to start whipping his ass. I jumped off my bunk bed, ready to rock. The inmate was breathing heavy, like he was trying to catch his breath, and he was crying. He was talking in Spanish. Other inmates were waking up. He told me and the others who woke up that the devil had tried to kill him. He was being choked by the devil. He called out to Jesus and he said a black shadow in the shape of a person jumped off of him. I thought maybe he had a bad dream and told him to go back to bed because he was starting to piss off the other sleeping inmates. 2 days later, I was lying on my bunk bed. I couldn't sleep. Our unit was well lit even at night, like a dimmer switch at half lighting is the only way I can describe it. I guess the guards could keep a better eye on us. Anyways, I was laying in my bunk, and about 4 bunks down, I see this guy starting to struggle in his bed. His legs were kicking and he was grabbing his neck. He was struggling so hard that he fell out of his bunk with his mattress. At the same time, I saw a dark shadow move away from his bunk and down the hall. I couldn't believe what I saw. The man was breathing heavy and scared. Another 2 days passed. I was laying on my bunk. All of a sudden, I can't move. It feels like someone's standing on my chest. Then I'm being choked by something. I saw a black face with no features, just black, in front of my face. I couldn't breathe at all. I started to struggle, but I couldn't get whatever was on me off. Then I started to call out for God to help me. Then whatever had hold of me released me. I was scared to death. It took me a while to get my shit together. I couldn't sleep at night after that. Every other day for like 2 weeks, you could hear other inmates being attacked. Then it just stopped. Some of the other inmates complained to the guards, but they didn't believe us. I was released 3 months later. I never went to jail again in that town.
Oh, man. Crazy stuff. I don't know what I would do in that case. Because when you're locked up, what can you do, man? It's not like you can get out of the room or anything.
I just told one of the guards, like, all right, you try sleeping in here tonight.
The guards don't care. The guards don't.
Oh, man.
They're probably, hell no, that black thing's running around in there, that black shadow, I don't want none of that.
Yeah, you deserve it.
But you know what, though? That's weird because, like, he was going through and he said that, you know what? It said something like every 2 days, which was weird. I don't know if you looked at it. I think it was something like, he said 2 days. It was in 2 days interval. So I don't know if the rest were. But
I'm sorry.
No. But that's what I'm saying. Is like it came and it went.
That's what I'm saying. Like, did you see anything up on it? Did you?
I did. I looked. I did. That's why I was looking up. First, I wanted to see. I was like, It sounds far-fetched.
There probably won't be a lot on it because, like, if somebody were to die, like an explanation, you know what I mean?
Well, I looked up haunted county jails in San Jose, and then it kept coming out Santa Clara County, and then even some in San Francisco, but no jails, the jails that came up were Old Floresville jail, and they're like old jails, Eastern State Penitentiary, shit like that. Yeah. And I know I'm not trying to look for that. I'm looking for some that are still in use. Mm-hmm. So the close I got was, I was like, well, let me see how close he came. So I looked up barrack style, and sure enough, man, boom, what was it? Elmwood.
Wow, really?
That popped up, and I was like, wow, I wonder if and you know what, folks, we do have those pictures of that. Now, I hope they don't get mad because I don't know if that's the right one, but it sounds like the only one. That's the only, right. And you know what's weird is I've never heard of barrack style anywhere. I was like, it must be a low.
Like you said, minor offense.
Very minor offense, because how are you going to have... At that place, it had like 30 bunks, man. I mean, 30 people in one room. Now, that's just unheard of, to have people roaming like that. And general pop, I guess, but like to sleep next to each other like that, too, That
it was somebody really just strangling them with a black blanket or
that's a trip, too. But like, what caused that, though? I mean... Why would it only be there for that little amount of time? And maybe it came back. We don't know. I haven't heard anything on it.
Or maybe it could have been like an anniversary or something. You know what I mean? Like the anniversary of that person being there, or that type of death happening. I don't know. Maybe
it could have been,
over a week span or something like that. I guess it happened 3 times at least that we know of. But
I know at the end there he was saying that like he can hear other people struggling. He knew what that was also, and it happened like several more times. And then boom, it just stopped. So it was something like a week. You're right, but why? Well, it was like what was that anniversary, and why was he dealing with these folks? But like, it's weird too, like because he started with the other guy and he didn't start with him. He's like, I guess that's what he was trying to show. Hey man, other people were getting messed over, but man, I couldn't find nothing on it. Jess, I looked everywhere.
That's crazy.
That's crazy too. Though they started crying and.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's weird though because you're in a few cells over and like, oh, I know what's happening right now.
And my thought too is it hit like most of them or all of them there, right? Like, they couldn't have all like begged God for help or something like that. Maybe I'm sure most of them did, but I don't think all of them. So why was it that none of them died?
Yeah, why did they?
It seemed like it was backing off as soon as they started asking for help, praying to God and stuff like that. But, But, I'm sure not all of them did that.
Well, yeah, because the guy that was in the bunk that fell off.
Yeah.
Remember, he said the mattress fell with him or something like that?
Could have just been like an asshole ghost that wanted to...
show who was a big boss. Let him try that shit, not in the low fence. Try it with the big boys. Who's a bitch now, huh? I'm going to be regretting them words. Later on, something that we
choke them out. I'm going to
be like that. Banana.
The ghost calls from
I'm sorry, Munoz, but that was a good one. Thank you, brother.
That was a great story.
If you got any more like that, man, please do call in and let us know, man.
Yeah, let us know of any of the other prisons you went to.
You want to do his intro music, Jess?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Let's sing that song to the sobering thoughts.
Ian's Corner.
Beautiful. I think I'm going to cry.
What do we got, Ian?
All right. So I guess today we're going to be talking about, I'm going to butcher it, prosopagnosia?
Prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia.
Okay.
It's from Greek. I guess
is it like psoriasis or?
No, it sounds like it.
Psoriasis. I don't actually know what that is.
Sorry.
Your eyes.
No, that's it.
With your skin. Your eyes.
No, but it comes from Greek, which is the first part of it is from prosopon, which means face, and then agnosia, which means not knowing. Mm-hmm. So it's a cognitive disorder. So like the way it works is a person's ability to recognize familiar faces, including their own face, is impaired, while the rest of their visual processing and intellectual functioning is okay, it functions properly. And in the layman's terms, they can see fine, and nothing else is wrong with them. I mean, they're not colorblind or anything like that, but I mean, not inherently, but they can't recognize faces. So, by my understanding, the way that means is like, I could see my dad's face my entire life every day, and I won't be able to tell it apart from your face, Rob, or Travis' face.
Like, tell it apart? Like, tell the different? Or just know it's him?
I think, from what I remember you said, I think they can tell, but only because of familiarity.
like voice
not
or...
very good anymore, but they can. I think you
like
can
you can tell it's that
who they
person,
are.
but not.
Is it like because of the vocals or just?
Face.
Oh, okay.
The face is the only thing that they can't see.
So what do they see?
Voice and everything else.
Yeah,
What is that though? What do they see?
Yeah, what do they see?
Does everything just look like a potato head?
Well, I don't know. Like,
Mr.
maybe
Potato Head.
they see everyone as one same generic face, or potentially they see a face, but they don't store the memory of that face, so they don't. Every time they see a face, it's new to them.
Didn't you say somebody famous has that?
Yes, I was gonna bring that up. I could jump to the end of the list. Steve Wozniak is one of them.
Okay.
Brad Pitt, Stephen Fry, Jane Goodall. There are all some people who have prosopagnosia. Steve Wozniak and especially Brad Pitt surprised me. I would never have guessed that he had that.
I got Steve's number. Let me give him a call real quick. Hold on a second.
What do you see?
But that's weird too, because he's got to act with folks, and like that is weird too, because like you're in a touchy scene or something like that. You're saying you love somebody, and it's a 300-pound man. It's like, no, she's over here. Like, oh my bad.
Especially too, because like I was saying, I originally said a few weeks ago, is that people learn to recognize them by clues like clothing, their walking gait, their skin color, voice, hair color, body shape, all that other stuff. So I don't think they would confuse, I don't think you would confuse like a slim Hollywood actress with a 300-pound guy.
Well, you don't know who you're talking to now.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But
Angelina, is that you? Yeah, you're grabbing my boob, sir. It's not her. Yeah, I thought that shit was bigger.
But find a spouse though. I mean, like,
like somebody that
they're like, okay, they got a nice body, whatever, but the face could look like minced meat, I mean,
okay, so I guess that like
guy. Oh, yeah, but look at the ass. I'm just kidding.
Like being attracted to somebody is not really something that they're used to, so it doesn't really matter, right?
Well, I mean, I feel like they wouldn't be attracted to facial features, but I'm sure other aspects.
That is true. I never even thought about that.
Brad Pitt with somebody that has a nice body, but the face just looks like a donkey. A butter face.
They're like hamburger meat, bro.
Yeah, it does, but that's the way I understand it. I mean,
But this is what I'm saying also, like, is it, okay, it's just the face, but I'm not trying to act stupid or nothing. Like, say, like, if somebody had long hair or short hair, can they make that features out also? Like,
Yeah, they can make out the hair color, the styles of the hair.
If they have glasses or something, obviously they'll still see that.
Yeah, they can tell the glasses.
Facial features.
Yeah, so like the nose, the eyes, the mouth.
That's weird.
And so it just all looks the same, like it's all plain. Like
I think that's what it is. That it all looks the same to them.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine looking at a cage of monkeys or something like that. You wouldn't be able to tell one face apart from the other. It feels weird to like equate people to animals.
No, but you can't really tell.
I mean, you can't tell. You see the same species of monkeys; they all look the same to you.
Yeah.
No, but so some people are born with it, and some people acquire it due to brain damage.
Wow.
So either birth defect, brain damage. Apparently, up to 2.5% of the U.S. might suffer from this form of prosopagnosia. I think as a birth defect. That's a sizable number of people.
It is.
I mean, that almost sounds like a mental block, like something. Because if you could see the rest of the features of it, the person.
Yeah. The fingers, the hands.
Yeah, why not the face? So I mean, it almost sounds like it's like
color blindness. Color blindness. That makes sense because I mean, it's the sensory. But what about the face makes it so hard to? I guess comprehend. I guess for the brain for these people.
I wonder if there's something similar, but in the opposite order. I mean, maybe they can see the face, but not the body. I mean, I wonder. I mean, they both. That one sounds weird as it is. I mean,
so can they recognize their own face?
Yeah. No, I don't think any of them can.
Are you serious?
What are they? Prosopagnostics is, I guess, how they refer to people who have this. I don't. they can't even recognize their own face.
So you can imagine the people that are born with this, they don't really know what they look like,
right?
Almost.
Right. But the people with brain damage, I'm sure they can remember. I think they can remember what faces look like, but they don't see those faces anymore.
That must be real frustrating.
That's probably even worse in some ways because people growing up with prosopagnosia, they don't know what they're missing.
Yeah.
I mean, but to have that.
That's what I say. That must be really frustrating.
And I was reading one of my researches took me to Wikipedia, and one of those. Every teacher's favorite website. No, but one of the segments was even talking about how children. I mean, most of the time they don't even know there's anything wrong with them, and they'll notice like all these little features about people that nobody else notices because they have to pay attention to that to be able to tell people apart.
Well,
and so they'll notice things, some like body language and all this other stuff that people generally don't pay attention to because they can see the face. They can. Everything they need to know about somebody, they can tell from their face, but these children, they don't. And so they're generally much more observant in other aspects of life. Yeah. And they don't even know that they're like, oh yeah, your hair is like 1 millimeter shorter today. Like you got a tiny trim or something like that. And it's like, how can you tell that? Everyone else is, freaking out about, but
that's like other, things like, people that are blind,
exactly.
Their hearing is like, 50 times better.
Yeah, enhanced.
It's really enhanced. And same thing with, somebody that's deaf, that makes sense.
It works in some way like that. I mean, of course, they're not completely blind. So, I mean, they're not, its hearing isn't perfect, but I mean, there have been several attempts at fixing this too, but no one's really been able to find any lasting cure for it or anything like that. Nothing really works as far as they can tell so far.
It sounds like a dysfunction of the brain, though.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Some kind of that, either like if you're not born into, maybe something wasn't developed, and like you said, brain damage, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's weird, man, that they can't distinguish faces, but everything else. And I guess that would heighten their senses on something else. Yeah, that's true on somebody else's feature that they'd notice, maybe the way he walked or hair on his arm, something, tattoo, something. Yeah, that's.
I'm trying, from a girl's view, I'm trying to think. Do they notice different makeup styles on people? You know what I mean? Because it's different.
Well, that's true. Because the makeup isn't really
red lipstick or something.
That's true.
I wonder if it'll come out the same way though. Like if they're just seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if they're saying the same face on a man, because it'll be like, do you have a beard or you're clean shaven?
Yeah.
Or you're wearing glasses?
That's the thing.
I wonder if that shows up.
I need to know.
Let's call up some researchers.
I need to know.
Right. Okay.
Any researchers listening to this, test that out for us, please.
You left me with more questions than answers yet.
Well, I'm not done yet. I have more questions to give you without answers.
There you go.
But yeah, apparently these people actually have memory issues as well related to people. Because I guess for some reason the face is an important identifying feature in memory. So people with prosopagnosia actually struggle with keeping track of information about people, and then they even actually struggle to socialize normally with people.
Wow.
Also.
Yeah.
And another thing too is, which is really weird, which actually ties into what you're saying, Dad, is about how it might be some kind of mental block, at least.
Right.
Well, I don't know for sure, but apparently some people who have acquired prosopagnosia due to brain damage of some sort, it just spontaneously resolves on its own.
Really?
So just somehow, and they're not sure why or how it happens.
For some reason, I'm feeling like it's a self-induced block.
Almost like a tragic event that you see it, you want to forget, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not. Yeah, that's what I'm.
I'm sure maybe nothing traumatic event happened to some of these people.
Even just had a car crash in your death experience, could probably be affected.
Yeah.
I mean, it just sounds that way. It may not be. I mean, I'm sure.
See, I had that same thing. That's what I was thinking also.
It's so different though for us that we can't. I guess maybe we can't understand it. That's why
it's hard for us because we can see faces fine. So. I mean, it's like walking out and someone being like, "Oh, the sky's red," because they got color blindness. It's like I can't even comprehend seeing the world like that.
Right, that's true.
And then they look at us like, "Oh, yeah, you crazy? I can't even see." And then too, man, there's some faces I wouldn't mind forgetting.
I know. Imagine if nobody saw body shape.
I know. Right?
Oh man, we can get as big as we want. Get it, Dad.
Or the people that saw it, just everybody was bad, no matter how hard you try to work out.
I was going to say, if it's traumatic events that cause it, I mean, God, could you imagine how many things we can't comprehend, you and I, Rob? I mean, the things that we've been through from childhood.
Yeah, stuff we blocked out, man. Yeah. But tidy whities. Oh, where are those? Yeah, glory holes.
Can you remember that for some reason?
Glory holes and tidy whities.
Yeah, I shouldn't have put my. Yeah, I was like trying to Jericho's horn on there. Yeah. Through the glory hole. Ew.
There's a hair here.
Oh, God. We're butchering this much.
Sorry.
We're butchering it. But that's the thing, too, is like, but going back to, that's what I kept thinking is like, the ones that are born with it, though, man, what's
yeah, I mean, that's true. So, I mean, I don't think it is self-induced, but it almost sounds like it is. Like,
I wonder what part of the brain that affects.
The specific brain area usually associated with prosopagnosia is the fusiform gyrus, which activates specifically in response to faces. So there's a part of our brain that is specifically designated to
where's it located?
Faces.
Front, the back? Does it say? Or center?
Right here. There's actually a little animation on Wikipedia. It shows it on the bottom of the brain.
Wow, okay, so it's towards the bottom of the brain, like near the jaw almost, so wow, okay.
I wonder what else.
I wouldn't have guessed that, but
Like
what other
in that same level.
disorder. Well, I don't know.
yeah, right.
Disorders are affected by that.
Obviously, it is a disorder, but like,
Oh, actually, I just read it. The right hemisphere fusiform gyrus is often more involved in familiar face recognition than the left. So it's both the right and left hemisphere, but somehow the right is actually more important in
remembering.
Yeah, recognizing faces.
but obviously, you can still function in everyday normal, life. You get.
It's just a little bit harder because you have to learn how to, I guess, recognize people by other
The
things.
differences, yeah.
Well, if you're born with it, I mean, it's probably natural, so it's not really harder for them, but, I mean...
What if everything tastes the same, dude?
Oh, it'd be horrible.
Right? Everything just tastes like water.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, that's...
That's...
I'm sure that is, yeah. I mean, I know our aunt had that for a little bit. Her taste, actually, she couldn't taste for something like 30 years, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, it came back. And that was recently. Well, I say recently, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Was she a smoker?
No. She just lost it one day out of the blue. Went to the doctors for 30 years. She couldn't taste anything. And one of the last times I seen her, and I hate to say it was probably 8 years ago or something like that. But she was crying and stuff, but she got her taste back. Wow. They just came back out of the blue. Man. She lost it for no reason and came back for no reason.
Can you imagine though, like, oh my God, coming back from not being able to taste food like that? I bet you'd be eating everything.
Oh, I know.
They're trying to find that. Yeah, there's got to be something, but everything tastes the same. No, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna die. That's like the one time.
Why do you want to eat
good food if you're not going to be enjoying the taste of it?
I'll tell you what, man, that sobered me up, man. Pretty much. That's why you heard my beer pop.
Yes, Ian, I need another one. Thank you.
There you go.
Man, where do you get this stuff, man? Ian, it's awesome, man. It's really awesome.
Honestly, like
Wikipedia.
No,
I love them too.
Wikipedia is a big source for me, but
me too.
Where I learned about these is every topic I've done so far has come from one video game.
Oh, here we go.
I'm sorry.
Video games, yeah.
Don't give away your source because they're gonna look at.
Oh, no shit, man.
That's why I'm not giving it what it is.
Yeah, we don't even have to look at Ian's corner no more. We have it here, right? But it's awesome, man. There's always something good, man. I can't wait till the next one, man.
Good stuff, man.
Thank you.
I tell you what. In the meantime, let's do a little commercial break. How about that?
It will do.
You know, if you were to follow a busy doctor as he makes his daily round of calls, you'd find yourself having a mighty busy time keeping up with him. Time out for many men of medicine usually means just long enough to enjoy a cigarette. And because they know what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette, they're particular about the brand they choose. In a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Why not change to Camels for the next 30 days and see what a difference it makes in your smoking enjoyment? See how Camels agree with your throat. See how mild and good tasting a cigarette can be.
All right, and we're back. And that was a commercial. Quite a commercial, I should say.
All the best.
We've been waiting for an Uber.
Yeah, actually, what we got coming up on an Uber?
Yeah, that's right. It is that time, isn't it? Well, we did promise an Uber story, so. Man, okay. Well, I tell you what, you guys aren't going to believe this, man, but this is the third time I ran over somebody's foot. Have you guys ever run over somebody's foot?
I think I've done that once, man.
I don't know what the deal is, but this is the third time, and
How do you still
Dude, how
work
do you
for
have all
that?
those stories?
I don't know. Well,
Just driving
fortunately,
weird, very fast.
drive fast. That's the key.
Speed is key.
How do you run over 3 feet?
Well, I mean, and they weren't all during, my Uber drivings, but the first one was some weird guy in the street. I don't know. I think I told these stories. I really don't remember if I did in past episodes, but the first one was some weird dude just in the street. He came up to the front of the car. I had to stop, and he just hit the front of my car. And he just looked at me. Man, the guy looked like he was psychotic, man. He looked like he was a serial killer or something.
So he wasn't driving with you?
No. This was just some guy, and he just smiled, and he had these big, thick glasses. And I don't know if he was on drugs or what, but yeah, he did, honestly, seriously. And then he just kind of, after a while, stood aside, and I'm like, all right, I just kind of laughed at him. I don't know what to do. I was like, okay, what do I do?
You
lock the door.
You blow down your window and you invite him in.
Yeah, I know, right? So I was just like, okay, bye, whatever, I start driving, all I felt, doop, doop. And I look in my rearview mirror and you see the guy, he's holding his foot and he's jumping in circles. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I ran over his foot, but serves you right for getting in front of my car, you idiot.
Oh my God.
The second time, though, man, it was so funny because when we were driving home from Florida, and we made a stop off. Yeah, we made a stop off in New Orleans. This is during St. Patrick's Day, and one of my wife's cousins wanted some beignets, man. Some of the best beignets in the world. Right there. What's the name of the place? Oh God! Beignets and coffee. They got the chicory coffee. Oh my God!
What are beignets?
Beignets are they're just these really. They're kind of like
empanadas or
sopapillas, if you know Spanish. But you know what sopapillas are in Spanish. But it's almost like some sort of flour. Cafe Du Monde. There you go. Man, the best place in the world to get these things, man. I tell you what. But they're just it's like some sort of puff dough thing, and it's got air in it. But then they dip it in powdered sugar, and then they shake it up in powdered sugar, and then they pour some powdered sugar on top. I'm like,
Jesus.
But I mean, they're so good, man.
How can you go wrong with powdered sugar?
Man, I know, but they're real good. But so here we are in this street. I forgot the name. It's this really big street, and so we're getting these beignets, and I got nowhere to park because it's jam packed. I'm like, what the hell's going on here, man? I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm tired, man, because we're driving home from Florida to get back to San Antonio. And so, but anyway, we stop, we get these beignets, and I'm just I have my flashers on the side of the road. And, my wife jumps out, or, Yolanda jumps out, and we get these beignets, and she jumps back in the car real quick. And I'm trying to drive away, but I'm going real slow. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And there's, next thing you know, man, I got batons twirling right on beside me. I'm like, before I knew it, I'm actually caught. I'm in the middle of a St. Patrick's Day parade. I had no idea I was in a parade. So
the girls waving in the back.
People are waving next to me and stuff, and I'm and they're looking in the car. I'm like, I don't belong here. I'm I'm just getting beignets, and I need to get out of this way. So I'm trying to drive and get out of there. And man, sure enough, I remember the girls dressed in in these green outfits, and she probably had a baton herself. She's flipping in the air, and the next thing you know, it was foot number 2 that I run over. And I'm like, okay, so I ran over somebody's foot again in the parade. No, I didn't, man. I kept going, and I got.
I saw the baton just land on the floor.
and some other guys holding her and like shooting me the finger. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I just gotta get. I got the beignets. I was happy, man. I was like, whatever.
Driving away with powdered sugar all over.
I'm
like, good God, man. I didn't know how I got caught. I was like right in the middle of the parade, man. I was like, how did that happen, man?
Dude, looking forward to fucking 2-3 weeks of practicing for that parade.
Man,
you
over 2 minutes.
That shit.
Yeah, you know.
Fucking powdered.
So
My mom was not happy. It's like, what
do you do? I mean, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I mean,
you travel.
Sorry. Drive away quickly. So those are the first 2 times, and I could have swore I told these stories, but I don't know if I did or I don't know. Y'all may have to listen to some past episodes, or y'all may have a better memory than us. But so anyway, this is the 3rd time, and I'm actually I'm doing my Uber gig, and so I got to pick somebody up. So I go to pick up this guy. He's an off-duty police officer, and I pick him up at his house. And you know what, man? It's pretty awesome because the guy is doing the right thing, man. He's like, man, I'm gonna go get drunk. So I'm calling Uber, man. So I'm like, okay, well that's cool, man. That's good. You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know you're gonna get drunk.
Yeah.
You're calling me to drive you home, drive you around, whatever. So that's cool. So we're shooting the breeze a little bit. He tells me a little story about him dealing with some drunks all the time, and how he's got he's like, hey, it's my turn to get drunk now. I mean, shoot, screw this. I mean, I'm drinking. So we go to this club downtown. Man, the guy gets off my big old Suburban. This big old honker, man. And
when they transported those big fellas.
Big fellas, man. Seriously, those big old guys, man. But man, there's people like all over the street, and it was like a really busy Saturday night. So there's like people just like, they're lined up, man. And it's downtown. It's at this club. I forgot the name of it, man. It was kind of one of these.
Bonham?
It was jumping places. Bonham. Well, man. It's a jackal. No, man, so I start to drive away, man. And here again, man. Time number 3. And then I hear a high-pitched squeal, man. I mean, I'm just like,
shit.
I was like, man, I knew it already. I'm like, shoot, man. I'm like, okay. So, because I've heard the sound so many times already.
I know that sound.
That's a left foot.
I already know the foot, but I said, oh, wait a minute, that's a left foot. So,
left foot? Thank you, Jeff.
I'm like, man, okay, so... And I'm like, okay, man, so I
Tell me it was not the police officer.
No, you know what? It's so funny. I'm glad it wasn't. That's so... I mean, he does fit into the story, but it wasn't him.
Yeah.
So, so I'm like, okay, well... I look back, and sure enough, man, there's this girl. She was holding. She's actually the cop was holding her. The cop was kind of like helping her up. Man, she was a big old heifer. Girl. She was a big girl, man. And you know what? She was crying. And she was crying. So it made me feel bad, but I'm like, oh my God, this is a big girl. And the cop's like, he's consoling or something. And oh my God, I just dropped this guy off, man. I was like, I got it. I can't drive away. The guy, knowing him, he knows my license and stuff too. And I'm thinking I'm gonna get in trouble. So the cop's there, so I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and I'll render some farm aid, or something. So I'm like, let me stop, man. I was like, all right, so. I get off and I walk over and I see this girl a little closer, man. As I get bigger, man, this girl just starts getting bigger and bigger, man. I'm like, as I'm getting closer, I'm like, oh man.
Did I run over your hoof?
Yeah, seriously.
Your hoof got hurt?
You got insurance? My tire.
No, but and you know what, man? It wasn't even that her hoof was hurting, man. It was honestly by the time I got there, she was crying because she broke her heel. And she hadn't gotten into the club yet, so she had high heels on. And I'm like, are you sure it wasn't from the weight? But I didn't say that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, my truck weighs 3/4 ton. You weigh a full ton, man. That's fucked up, bro.
Look, this is a 3/4 ton truck here, girl.
That looks like ton work right there.
She had blinkers on the back of her shoes, and I just thought big she was.
Was her foot messed up? It was just
her foot was hurting, but honestly, she was crying because she wanted to get into the club. She's a big girl and she broke her heel and she's like, dude, I don't have my shoes now. So she's like, she's crying, she's pissed because she doesn't have her shoes. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, man, look at her shoe, man.
I got a horseshoe, I can nail this sucker up
I looked at her shoe and oh my God, I did a number on that shoe. Man, her shoe looked like shit, man. I mean, it looked bad, man. And I was like, man,
her foot?
No, her shoe. Well, I mean,
her foot didn't look like a scuba diving flapper.
I mean, this. I mean, seriously, man. She had a big shoe too, man. She looked like a size 16 men's, man. I was like,
she killed heels. High heels.
I was like, I didn't know they made high heels like that. I'm like, seriously? I'm like,
those are special orders, you know.
I know, yeah. I don't know where she got them, but I was like, man, they had to. She probably made them herself.
Yeah, man, poor girl. So she didn't get to go on
No, she didn't. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know because, man, I told her, man, like, I'm just, sincerely sorry. And you know what, it was weird because, man, I thought I was in trouble because the cop started to walk back and he was like, you know what, come here, man, and calls me back to the car. So I'm thinking, oh, right, man. I was like, this guy's gonna call his buddies or something. I'm in trouble, man. And so I'm like, damn, okay, well, you know what? Man, the guy just, honestly, he just needed to get away from her because the guy started busting out laughing, man. He was like, he wanted to laugh so bad. And I was like, dude, I was like, man, I'm sorry. I was scared, man. I'm like, but, and he's like, dude, I couldn't hold it, man. I know, he's like, I couldn't hold it. He goes, look, I mean, I know it's an accident. He's like, I know you didn't do it on purpose, but he goes, dude, I mean, I had to console her, but, you know. But
did you drive away after that?
After that, man, I just drove away quick because I don't want the guy to get my license number, change his mind or anything, but I was like,
can you run over her other foot?
Just for a joke. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if she made it in or not. I'm sure she did. I mean, but probably just took off her shoes and tried to act ladylike and holding those size 16s. Had them up to her chest and they're all the way down to her knees on their shoes. I mean, I'm like, dude.
She draped them over her, tied them together and draped them over her neck. Come on, let's get down, man.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible, but I'm like, I feel bad, but I mean,
that poor lady.
There were some big shoes, and man, I did trash them, so I felt bad about that. But fortunately, man, I didn't lose a star there because she wasn't my passenger. So.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna give you 5 stars for that laugh. Man. That's terrible.
Just for helping me, just for making me laugh.
No wonder you're running over her feet, man. Yeah, man. We haven't heard one of those in a while, man. Shit.
It's been a long time, man. That was a good one. I was like, oh my God, I gotta tell this story, man. It just, I don't know what the deal is. I hope the next one ain't gonna be about me running over somebody's foot again. It just seems to be a habit at this point. I don't know. But that was cool. But anyway, so man, we do got one more story, don't we? We got man, what are the haunted shack in the wood where this dead body actually talks, man. I mean,
you saw that? That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's really crazy, man. This is a good story, man.
I read that one. I thought it was awesome, man. But
it looked like, honestly, when I read it, man, it sounded like something out of a movie to me, man.
It might have been.
When they sent it to us out of a movie, man. Like,
you know what? It better not, man. The guy said, "You sons of bitches, that really happened."
I know. No, this is actually a really, really good story, man. It's just. I just thought it was so awesome. I mean, actually, all 3 of these stories we got today were so bizarre. They're just like, they're things that you don't really hear normally. Yeah. So we got really lucky getting some good people writing into us, man.
Yeah, and I hope it continues, man.
Yeah,
this
definitely.
is awesome.
You guys got to write into us.
Yes.
But in the meantime, let's listen to this last story we got here for you guys, man. Check this out. This story comes to us from Kevin from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hello, my name is Kevin. When I was growing up in York, Pennsylvania, back in the early 80s, our family moved into a big house with a huge backyard, which led into a wooded area. I love that house. Me and my older brother would go and explore in the woods and play. It was awesome. Not too far into the woods was an abandoned shack with no windows. We would pass that shack every day without paying any attention to it. One day I was playing by the abandoned shack by myself. I got curious about what was in there. I tried to open the door, but it was locked from the inside. I started to push on the door and tried to pry it open with a branch, but it wouldn't budge. All of a sudden, I heard a loud bang on the other side of the door. Then the voice of an angry man that said, "Leave me alone." I dropped my stick and ran to the house. I told my mother what had happened. She had a look of concern on her face and scolded me for screwing around the shack. Then she told my father to go and check the abandoned shack. She thought maybe a homeless person was squatting there, or worse, people using drugs in there. My dad reassured me and my mom that no one was in there. He had checked it out a few days before to search for tools. No one was in there as far as he could tell. He said it was strange that it was locked from the inside, but maybe something fell against the door and wedged it tight, and maybe that's why they couldn't open it. My mother kept complaining for him to check. He finally said, "Fine, damn it," grabbed his crowbar and told me to go with him. That way he can show me no one was in there and to get my mom off his back. I felt my heart racing and I was scared walking to that shack. My dad was still pissed. When he reached the shack, my dad wasted no time trying to pry that door open. He had a tough time but started making progress. Then bam! The door flew open and it was dark, dusty, and dirty. My dad walked in and I stayed outside. I was way too scared to go in there. All of a sudden I heard my dad say, "Oh shit!" He came running out of the shack and grabbed me by my hand and said, "Let's go." He didn't say anything, but he looked frightened. Something in that shack scared him. About 15 minutes later, the police showed up and they were at my house and my dad led them to the back of the shack. Then people showed up in a van and were bringing a body bag on a gurney from the abandoned shack. I found out what my dad saw in that shack was a skeleton of a man that had been missing from a nearby town 4 years before. The man had went to the abandoned shack to commit suicide. The skeleton still had clothes and a wallet. That's how the police identified the man. There was dried blood on his shirt and a gun near him. I stopped going into the woods after that. My parents still live in that house, but the shack became dilapidated and unsafe, so the city had to tear it down a few years back, which is fine with me. Thank you and hope you can use my story. All right, what did I tell you? What did I say? Huh?
It did come from a movie.
I know, right? It sounds like a movie, man. I'm telling you, but it was a really good story. That was creepy, man.
You know, I couldn't find anything on this one, any kind of background to it, but I mean, it still is an awesome story.
And that, you know what? That's what I like. I like these stories that they're really just these. Well, they're just like people telling their honest to God stories, and they're not these things that are really big that you're going to find all over the internet. It's just like you and I mean, nobody heard of our stories about, the haunted church that was next to us. I mean, that's not something that's going to be published out there.
It's good to get some kind of we found at least that in the last story. Well, what gave a little bit of credit to it was that there was a barrack style jail there.
Right. Yeah.
And but maybe I was looking for the wrong thing. So every time I look up something, it's got to be haunted. Instead of just going in with the crime part, the everyday part. Yeah.
That's true. Right. For that missed somebody.
And I should have went in with that mentality, and I bet I would have found something.
Yeah.
But then I think he said it was in York, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
something like that. And hopefully, I always say, we'll do some research on that and get back to you. It's been, I don't know how many times I said that shit.
Why don't somebody do research on it for us and get back to us?
That would be awesome.
But I like how the dad's like, I just checked it.
You're trying to steal tools, resident son of a bitch. Yeah, he's like, I try to get in there to look for tools.
But he said that he checked it, right? He said that he went in there and there was no.
No, he tried to get in there, but he said it was locked from inside.
Right.
But he said that he thought something had fell against it. But then when Mama started bitching, you know how that goes, man. God damn it, you little son of a bitch. Come here, you're gonna go with me. So he got in there.
Okay.
And but that's a trip, though. I mean, the guy had been there dead for 4 years, man.
That's sad.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing that tripped me out is because it was such a small part. I don't know if to recount, the little kid was trying to get in there and go screw around, but he couldn't get in. He was trying to break in. Well, when they kicked the door or hit the door, whatever, he heard the big bang, and then it said, "Leave me alone." That's weird because nobody still was in there.
Right.
Yeah, how?
And it had no windows either. That was
Yeah.
There was no windows. It was just one door going in.
But the man that went to go, I mean, obviously he was, I don't know, maybe like he was going through a lot. He just wanted to be left alone. He probably just did.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be found. He just wanted to be left alone. That's why he.
And he was from the other county. Maybe he had seen it before when he's hunting or whatever. But that's weird, man. I mean,
that's some crazy stuff. Yeah, because the first thing you think of too is, or at least me, I thought, well, yeah, it could have been somebody was in there. I mean, but
yeah, because Mama was like, what, it's a homeless person living,
right,
taking residence in there, and then or drugs.
Yeah, doing drugs. Yeah. First thing I was like, I smell pot. I know we're going with that one already.
Yeah, but I mean, it was still locked when they went back, and the dead guy was there. So
I wonder if that was haunted. I know they went through that part, but did they have any more paranormal experience from that same shack? If anything happened, so that's
or in the area.
Yeah.
I wonder if the dad went back and.
Did he get his tools?
Yeah, he got his tools.
Question.
That's something too. Haunted forest, man. That's another creepy thing, man. There's several.
Because there's already a lot of
I know. It's like
snakes and gross shit.
Oh, I know. Right to begin with, yeah.
Spiders.
You just never know.
You walk in, a cockroach!
Well, the other thing too is like in a forest, you're kind of far removed from society, civilization. So I mean, you get that feeling of isolation.
You scream and nobody's gonna fucking hear you.
Okay, fellas, we did the Gray Moss Inn, right?
Yep.
You know that out in Helotes, Texas, very nice, very, very nice country out there.
Mm-hmm.
They have I forgot the name of the forest that's out there, but that's supposed to be haunted out that way also. Not pertaining to the Gray Moss Inn, but it was out that way. But why I brought that up, I don't know. But like we're talking about haunted forests, but there's so many. What is our favorite one? Is well, I don't know. To me, it's one of mine is the one at the base of Mount Fuji, where everybody, in Japan,
suicide.
Yeah, it's it got so bad where they have to put up all those signs. They have actual people who actually their job is just to go look for people.
The body.
It's weird too, man, because they'll come across a body that's been out there for like 2 or 3 years, and that's hanging or whatever.
Right.
That's weird though, man.
That's something crazy.
Yeah, that's it. So obviously that's another haunted place, but they got so many of them. So it's just it's awesome too, man. We got to do it in a haunted forest.
I know, right? That'd be cool. That'd be neat.
I was just thinking, I think I see a forest podcast next week.
Yeah, I know.
So something good.
That'd be weird.
That and then
like the Blair Witch, or
right.
fucking snot and shit.
The snot bubble, yeah.
But then you also have Bigfoots too, man. I mean, same thing when you're talking about forests, man. I mean,
exactly.
The Bigfoot is real.
Bigfoot's real. We all know it is real.
Tiny says he is, man.
Tiny says that's right.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All the time.
Somebody took a bite of his enchilada, oh my god. For you guys that don't know what we're talking about, what is this again?
It's Mountain Monsters. Actually, I love the show, man. I mean, I really do.
It's so shitty that it's so hilarious,
Actually, that's right. It's so bad that it's good. I mean, it's one of those that I don't know. Maybe I'm just drunk.
Sharknado.
Sharknado 1.
I didn't see Sharknado.
What, Sharknado 6 now? Or something?
I haven't seen that yet, but
what is that lady Tara? What a read, she can't find homework, man. She just thinking Sharknado's man. Nah, she may be better off doing porn or something. Anyway, that's kind of fucked up to say. Anyway,
man, yeah.
Thanks, Kevin, for that story. It was awesome. Would love to hear more stories. If you got any more, damn, man.
Definitely, yeah. You guys need to really please write us in, man. Get us more stories.
We have been getting some awesome stories, off the wall stories. We love that shit. That's actually a really awesome.
Yep. Yeah, it's been some great stuff. It's kind of weird because we kind of went into this little thing where we're doing a whole bunch of interviews for a while. And but now we said, okay, you know what? We got some stories compiled, so let's go back to some of the stories we got. We still got a couple of interviews that we did. And they were great interviews, man.
Yeah, they were
really
awesome.
cool
But
stuff,
we're thinking we may just keep those just as interviews.
Yeah, we probably won't do them as often. Just probably spread them out.
Yeah, and just leave them as just whole episodes because I'm thinking we're just getting back to the roots because I think these stories are awesome. I'd rather be hearing these stories also.
Yeah, right. I mean, we do. We definitely want to hear your story. So, man, with that said, guys, if you got a story, if you want to phone call it in, what is that number, Rob?
It is 210-901-8666. And
right.
folks, remember that is a 3-minute call. So if you got a little longer story, please make sure that you call back and just let us know, hey, I'm going to part 2 of this story.
Yeah, you guys don't be shy. Call us. We can edit it. I mean,
That's right, yeah. We can make it sound good.
there is a lot of editing done.
A lot, yeah. I stay up sleepless nights. But it's all good because we really do want to get your story out there.
Hear you guys say it from,
Exactly.
first-hand perspective.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
there's just so many great stories out there. I mean, and we've been getting lucky because we've been getting a really ton of good ones, man. And then not to forget Ian, man. Ian's coming up with some.
Yeah, we've got some good stuff coming up there too. Yeah, on the sobering thoughts corner there.
Oh yeah.
But also, and if you guys don't want to call us, I mean, please email us info@rigormortisparanormal.com. Or you can also
Ghost is trying to get in.
yeah, that's right. Or you can actually fill out a form. We got a form on our website, or just visit our website. It's rigormortisparanormal.com, and I'll spell that out for you because it's kind of weird. It's RIGORMORTIS paranormal.com. But whichever
Spell the
way.
paranormal part.
That's right.
PRO.
WJAZ.
I see a couple of Y's and X's in there.
Batman symbol. But hey,
Hashtag.
however you guys decide to do it, please get a hold of us. Send us a story. Just want to get in touch with us, email us, whatever. But with that said, you guys have a great night. Thanks for listening to us, and peace out.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Deuces.